This is the Galaxy Note 3. This is the new flagship device that replaces the much-loved Galaxy Note 2. The Note 3 is very similar to the Note 2, but everything about it is upgraded. The S Pen and its features are beefed up, the form factor and design are elevated, and it even gets a new textured faux leather back, which is a huge step away from hyperglazed plastic. Can this Note 3 with today's most powerful mobile processors inside be the best convergence device this year? Let's find out now in the full review. The Galaxy Note 3 features a 5.7-inch 1080p Super AMOLED display, and that is an upgrade from the 720p 5.5-inch display found on the Galaxy Note 2. The outer band is supposed to mimic a notebook, but looks more like a table at a retro diner or something. What do you guys think it looks like? The bottom features a first for mobile phones, and that is a large USB 3 port for faster transfer and faster charging, and now you have a single speaker on the bottom instead of on the back. Of course, this wouldn't be the Note series without the pen stylus home that can be found right next to the speaker. I think the most interesting choice for Samsung is this faux leather back cover on the Note 3, and I personally like the change from the hyperglazed plastic to this material. It is not real leather though, and I will show you that later. The stitching looks a little over the top, but I guess that some people will like it, but I personally don't care for it. The pen is now universal in the way it is housed, so you can put the pen in the slot however you want to without worrying about it if it's the right side up or right side down. The camera now is bumped to the same 13 megapixel sensor that the Galaxy S4 has been enjoying for a while now, and we'll go over the image quality later on in the review. Galaxy users will find the home button layout very familiar, with the menu and back buttons flanking the large home button. Being a Galaxy device, of course you have the advantage of removing this back cover, and I was telling you earlier, it's really not leather, it's a faux leather on top of this extremely flimsy plastic as usual. Anyway, what I love is this giant 3200 mAh battery and the microSD card expansion to augment your already included 32GB of internal storage. And let me tell you, this battery, it's an all-day battery. I tried my best to kill it in a day, and I just could not with regular usage. It's a great battery. You will not be disappointed in the battery life on the new Galaxy Note 3. In terms of size though, the Note 3 is still a beast. It's much larger than most flagship devices out there, so if you're weary of large devices, then the Note 3 is no exception. It's definitely a two-hand device, so take a look at it first before you buy if you're scared of large devices. Okay, now first let's talk about this new 1080p 5.7-inch Super AMOLED display on the Note 3. And let me tell you, this is the best AMOLED display that I have seen yet. The viewing angles are exceptional, the pixel density is superb, and the blacks are super inky, and yes, the colors are a little oversaturated, but man does it look good. I watch a ton of YouTube videos, and it has been a pleasure watching these videos on the Note 3. I just wish the speaker was just a little bit better. It is loud enough, but it does sound a bit tinny. Point is, you won't be disappointed in the screen that Samsung put on this device, and everything is better on the larger screen in my opinion. I do a lot of web browsing, and for the most part it is a fluid experience with minimal lag. And Samsung even tried an HTC move here with its Flipboard powered news aggregator. Come on Samsung, that's just a blatant ripoff, but it's fine and it looks great on the screen. Flagship devices usually get the best internals on the market today, and the Note 3 will not disappoint. It is just fast, and I mean blazing fast. My version features the Snapdragon 800 quad-core processor with 3GB of RAM and the Adreno 330 GPU, and some models feature the Exynos Octa processor, but no matter what, it just crunches through the benchmarks as expected. But what makes the Note 3 awesome is that the power of the new internals translate to real-world performance, which I appreciate. This device is just so quick, and I rarely experienced any lag, and it is a great experience overall. The performance is also improved by having Android 4.3 on board with its GPU optimizations, but even though it has the RAM-heavy TouchWiz UI on board, it performs extremely well. and you will find all of those features you find on the Galaxy S4 on the Note 3, like the handy shortcut toggles up top, and all of the show-off features like air gesture, multi-window, and air view are present on the Note 3. When you pull out your S Pen, you are greeted with a new pen menu called Air Command, which features some great new features. The pen window is a function where you can draw a square on the screen and launch small apps like the calculator on top of whatever you're doing. Action Memo is an improved version of S Memo that I found useful, so if someone is telling you a phone number, you can write it down on the memo with some other information if you like, and put the text and numbers into action, like calling them directly from the memo without copy and pasting. Scrapbooker is also an interesting function for brainstorming. I can circle Dom from Mac Mixing's Note 3 review, and I can even write a memo to watch it later. And then I can open my Scrapbook app and find all the articles that I put in there and all the videos in one place. I can even use the pen to hover over the different articles, and then what I can do is play the video right inside the Scrapbook app. So this is very neat, and I don't have to go around and collect my thoughts in different places, so I really like this scrapbooking feature. The S Pen now works with the capacitive buttons on the bottom, so that's a great inclusion and can be used to launch the multi-window function. This is not new to the latest Galaxy devices, but it's improved on the Note 3. Now I love this function, for I can browse through TLD Today's awesome videos and also check my Twitter timeline at the same time. If you go to the bottom of the app bar, you will find a new feature called Pair Window, where you can create your favorite combos. Now this is very convenient if you multitask a lot. Now I also like how you can switch windows with ease, and now you can multitask within multitasking. This is very powerful and takes advantage of the large screen, so kudos to Samsung on this. The large screen and lots of power equal an amazing gaming experience for Galaxy Note 3 owners. The big screen is immersive, and the Adreno 330 graphics chews through the toughest graphics, like on Asphalt 8. The frame rates are buttery smooth, but once again, I wish the speakers were just a tiny bit better. So I'm hoping for stereo speakers in the next Note series. Pen gaming is also a good experience in certain cases, like this bowling game. I found it much easier to bowl strikes when playing with the pen. And who can forget about Candy Crush Saga? Let the hours of gaming ruin your productivity. Let's take a break from performance and talk about the call quality. I found the call quality be exactly as expected on a flagship device. The earpiece was loud and crisp, and the caller said I was clear on the opposite side. Connection was strong and data speeds were decent. The speakerphone was adequate, it could be a little better. But I know that some people are afraid that this phone may be too big for them, but I have average sized hands and I can handle this phone just fine. People may be afraid that it may look ridiculous while making a phone call, but it really does not look that bad. It's nowhere near as bad as the Galaxy Mega 6.3. If you wear regular jeans, then you should not have a problem with fitting this into your pocket. It's larger than most phones, but it's fairly thin. So you will notice that it's in your pocket, but I can move around without any problems, and you can even sit down without worrying about the phone flexing. It passes the pocket test for me, but for some, especially women, may want to continue with the purse route. Lastly, let's talk about the 13 megapixel camera on the Galaxy Note 3. This is the same software and camera sensor from the GS4, so you will get all of those same features. The notable thing about the Snapdragon 800 version though is that it has support for 4K Ultra HD video recording. Now that is amazing. You do not get video stabilization though with the 4K, so you'll have to bump down to 1080p video to get the software stabilization. No optical image stabilization here. But you do have some manual control over the camera if you want to tinker around with your camera settings a bit. But for the most part, the auto mode does very well in just capturing great pictures. Having a large screen like this at 5.7 inches, it really has an advantage because it makes a great viewfinder and pictures are a pleasure to take with it. The shutter speed is fast and the focus is equally quick. So enough talking about this, let's get right into the sample images and video. When it comes to the photos, I really didn't have any surprises here because this is the exact same sensor that's on the GS4, and the GS4 was a great shooter in its own right, so pretty much the same kind of details here. The only problem I had was with the macro focus. It was a little hesitant sometimes, but once you got it, man, it takes some great pictures, has a great bokeh effect, and the sharpness here is pretty incredible, and the dynamic range of this camera is very good as well. As you can see, these are not HDR photos here of landscape, and it just really handled them very well. And I did take some HDR shots here. This is an HDR shot, and the next one is also an HDR shot. So very, very sharp and detailed, and for the most part, this is a great point and shoot camera. You're gonna get a lot of good pictures from this sensor. But what about the 4K video? Now this was shot in 4K, and this is gonna be obviously stepped down to 1080p because of the way I'm exporting this video. But look at how detailed this video is. This might be the best video that I've seen this year, besides the Lumia 1020. So maybe I need to do a versus video. But man, if it had optical image stabilization, which it's lacking, I think this is some of the best video that I've seen this year on a device. When it comes to low light photography though, this is a whole nother story. It's just pretty much mediocre. It doesn't shoot as well as the other flagships on the market, but it's definitely passable. But the one thing that I did notice is that if you shoot with the stabilizer on and in auto mode, it doesn't shoot as well. I took it off and also changed the ISO to 200, and look at how much better that photo comes out. And here they are side by side, so change your ISO and take that stabilizer off and you will get much better low light pictures on the Note 3. So what do I think about the Galaxy Note 3? I think it's the best device that Samsung has ever made. It takes all my gripes about the Galaxy S4 and pretty much fixes them. TouchWiz is snappy and fluid, the screen is bright and beautiful, the battery life is stellar, and the hyperglazed plastic finish is gone. And the Snapdragon 800 makes this device one of the best yet. The home button construction is a little shoddy and it's a little bit loose, and the low light performance struggles some, but I have no problems recommending this device to anyone who wants a larger mobile device today. So what do you guys think? Do you have a Note 3, or are you thinking about getting one? Is a $300 on contract price a little too steep? Well, sound off in the comment section below, and make sure you hit like if you enjoyed this review, and also follow me on Twitter at SuperScientific for the latest news. And if you want a big device and you want that phablet, then go ahead and get the Note 3. I recommend it wholeheartedly. So I will see you guys in the next video, and thanks for watching.